and Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Jerry Brownlee. I invite the Prime Minister to give...
We've had a pretty wide-ranging discussion around the Asia-Pacific, and it was the Secretary reassured us of the ongoing engagement of the US in both the economic and defence and security aspects of the stability of the Asia-Pacific. We also discussed our disagreement with the administration's decision over withdrawing from the Paris Agreement, and heard from the Secretary about the direction of climate change policy in the US.
Well, I would take exception to your characterization of it being unpredictable. The President ran his campaign on the intention to withdraw from TPP and the Paris Climate Accord. I think he did take time and made very deliberative decisions to finally take action on both of those fronts. On Paris, I think the President, again, felt this was just simply not an agreement that served the American people's interest well. Having said that, as he made that decision, I think he made clear that he welcomes the opportunity to talk about a subsequent agreement. So I don't think anyone should interpret that the U.S. has somehow stepped away from these issues or is seeking to isolate itself. Indeed, one of the reasons I'm in the region, one of the reasons Vice President Pence has already been to the region, Secretary Mattis has been to the region, is to reaffirm to everyone that the United States views this region of the world extremely important to both our national security interest and our own economic and prosperity interest. And I think you can expect, in fact, to see an elevated level of engagement to that you saw in the past 8 years. I think in terms of the commitment that all nations, including New Zealand, along with in partnership with the United States, towards counterterrorism efforts is extraordinarily important today. And the tragic events in London are just, here again, we're seeing it as to how it manifests itself. I was in London only 11 days ago on the heels of the Manchester attack, and before I can leave and get back home again, we have another incident. And I was actually encouraged when I heard on the news this morning that a number of imams in London have condemned these attackers and said they will not perform prayer services over their funerals, which means they're condemning their souls. And that is what has to be done. Now, only the Muslim faith can handle this. We have called on all nations that have any type of relations, economic activity with North Korea to join us in putting pressure on the regime in Pyongyang to cause them to rethink the strategy and the pathway they're on with the development of their nuclear weapons program. All of the regional partners, including China, have reaffirmed without question their commitment to a denuclearized Korean peninsula. And so now I think the question is, how do we work together collectively to bring Pyongyang to the table to have a discussion about that future, a different future than the one they have charted thus far? Well, I can't really comment on any of that because I have no direct knowledge, and so it would be inappropriate for you to make any comment. What I would tell you is the President's been very clear with me that Russia is an important global player, and today our relationships with Russia are at a very low point.
Members of the press, can you please remain seated until they have left?